Terasana. Saraka, do you have any?
Namaskar, Beba. Is Shani going to read the book to start with?
I think he's today not doing the reading book because discussion is going on, I think. Sutarma, uh, about Sri Lanka. English Zoom, 24 hours is going on. What's your idea? Many of them are there, no? So otherwise, it's not a discussion. It's a Dharma discourse, it's not explaining. How is that explained? Nice, no? What do you think about? We wanna ask what's your idea? What you think, Sri Lanka? Yes. Sri what do you think about?
Yeah, I think it was a beautiful experience, the first 24 hours, because there have been so many followers on the Buddothpada and Mahansa's talks over the last so many years, and not only in Sri Lanka, but from all over the world. People who have been looking for the truth, looking for how to end the suffering that they have encountered in their lives, and going from one temple to the other, one teacher to the other, but listening to so many talks. But inside, deep inside, I think they have felt that no, this is not what I'm looking for. Or even if I have followed it for 5 years, 10 years, that they are not finding the peace that that they have wanted, or the end or the cessation from suffering. So these are the people who have got together over the last so many years, discovered Aryan Mahansa's talks, which is the uncovered truth that Lord Buddha imparted so many years ago, and realized that through the Buddhist philosophy, the darshana, and the practice of putting that into practice, the vidarshana, the true vidarshana, that they have found that peace, Aryan Mahansa. And because of that, they know that there's so many people out there who are also suffering, who don't know that there is such a truth. And with that noble intention in mind, these people came together in the last 24 hours. It was a thing and a plan, of course, from yourself, Aryan Mahansa. And I think you had mentioned it before few times, but finally it was started yesterday. And I think every 1 hour there was a different speaker. They were able to give their personal experiences, their search for the Dhamma, their search for the truth, and how they were able to slowly first gain it as knowledge and then slowly understand how this Dhamma is not something different and the life is not something different, but Dhamma has now become the life. There is no thing called a separate life. The whole thing is the Dhamma, isn't it? And it was a beautiful experience to listen to each of their explanations and experiences. Yes, Arun.
Yes, Saranka. Very important, I think. Very interesting. Dasaman is talking. No,
Yes, even the new
Dasaman is,
beginners, isn't it? How
yeah,
they have been able to, at once, I think they've realized when one
yeah,
listens to various talks and various things, and then they encounter the true Dhamma.
yes. Otherwise, that's the first time I heard English
Yeah.
explain history, no?
Yes.
English language.
Yes. She
Yeah,
comes for the Andolanatmaka sometimes to ask questions, isn't it?
yeah. Dasaman is come Andolatmaka. So it's very interesting. Otherwise, the Saroja also there, no? It's very
Saroja
interesting.
and
Saroja.
Professor Kavindya. I heard Dr.
Professor
Ravi last
Kavinda
night.
also. Dr. Ravi also
Yeah.
there. It's very nice.
Yes. And
Yeah,
Lalana as well.
Ravana also, yeah. Otherwise, our Asanti also coming, no? Morning today.
Yes, that was also very nice. I was listening to a bit of that as well from the book, reading, because
Yeah, yeah.
the books are really good, Aryan Hansa, because it really explains very simply whoever who translated them those long years ago.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
They have done a good job. The question and answers from Aryan Hansa and some people asking and Aryan Hansa explaining. They are very good.
Terasana Kokila, yeah.
Yeah, I think 24 hours went well, wasn't it?
Now it's over, no? So
Yeah.
yesterday, 3 o'clock, now 1 hour. Yesterday,
Yeah.
3 o'clock we started.
Yeah,
And
it's
now
good.
24 hours is over.
That's good, Aranas.
How is this now?
I
Unbelievable.
think the more, I mean, when we start, the start is the difficult part. I think once it started, it will go on.
It's happening.
Yeah, it's happened.
It's happening. Nobody is doing. It's happening.
I think you said
I think
few years.
Joe,
Yeah.
our friend newcomer, who's that Joe, no? Joe, what's
He's
the name?
not here as yet.
Yeah, I think his time is here now. Sometimes 3 o'clock, Joe sometimes coming because Joe thinking sometimes because Joe is not that English group, I think. Otherwise, Joe is coming, I think it's 3 o'clock. Now, 270, no? It's okay. Otherwise, what you think about Kokila? Kokila, I think you yesterday evening is here, Sri Lankan time, 3 o'clock, no?
Yeah.
After Kokila coming early morning, Sri Lanka time midnight, 12 o'clock, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. How is your feet? It's a tie.
No,
No,
it's
no tie.
it's a
It's
7
okay.
o'clock issue is the only issue that otherwise so that
Yeah.
means I have to end around
I saw
1:30.
you send the message. It's a very
Yeah.
cool night time. Your time is, I think it's early morning, no? Early morning. Now, Sri
Yeah,
Lanka,
yeah.
they are
And
here.
anyway,
Yeah,
1:30 I just
time
had to
adjusting,
finish. Yeah.
13 minutes adjusting. Yeah,
Otherwise, everything is fine, Aryan answer.
yeah,
I
it's
thought
okay.
to start from scratch,
How
and
is the Dhamma?
yeah, I decided to kind
How
of
is that
tell from
Dhamma
beginning.
talking? What do you think about Dhamma explaining all of them?
Well,
Yeah,
I
everybody have the chance. How in they also
I
have
didn't
a chance.
listen. I didn't listen to the whole thing, Aryan answer. I haven't. but I just listen
Yeah,
here
it's
and
okay.
there. I heard the
Not
voices.
easy.
Yeah,
How is listen? Because how is
yeah.
sleep?
I just here and there just try to listen here and there and understood that it's going on. And I heard your voice too. So
My voice? No.
it must have been
Whose voice?
a recording. I don't know whether it was a recording or
It's
not,
a
but
recording.
yeah, it must have been a
Yeah,
recording because there
it's
were
a
recording
recording.
times.
I'm not there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There is,
But
yeah,
anyway, it's
otherwise it
happening.
it's happening. No?
Yeah, in between, I think there were recordings, no, Dr. Kokila?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
recording. I don't know.
Old English recordings. I think
So,
Haritha got those clips and played the recordings.
how I'm there? You see how I'm there? Yes, Andolatmaka Zoom is there. I'm also there. After early morning today, I'm also there. How is coming? It's okay because I'm in the back. This going this Zoom. I'm in the back. I'm calling the others. Yeah, come. It's your time is here. What your what you what you free time are you asking? I mean, also. Otherwise, there's one also. That's me. It's early morning, 1 o'clock. I'm asking the there's one. Otherwise, I'm asking the car. There was a 2 o'clock early morning. So I'm not really sleep, no, because very important. Their voice is coming here. No, that's why. That's why I try. Because I won't do that. That's why. It's okay. What you think, Kokila? Yeah, we won't going. I think Shani is here. I think Shani continue this page reading. Before I will talk with you. It's okay, Shani. You can read paragraph. But I think Shani can explain now, no? Shani, no, this time I think. I've not heard Shani's voice. Shani's explaining. Because that voice is not loudly, no? That's why. It's okay. Okay, I think Shani, book is here, volume 3, no? Volume 3, The True Dhamma Has Awakened. Uh, how is this book, no? It's okay, I am given to Shani to just read and discuss, continue. It's okay, Kokila?
Yes,
It's okay,
Saranasa.
Kalkia? Yeah, it's okay. I will give it to you.
Saranasana.
No, it's not.
Yeah, so- yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Kiran Sanharan, Kiran Sanharan, everybody. Let's continue with the book reading. The True Dhamma Has Awakened, Volume 3, page number 12. The objects coming from outside and the objects coming from within are both equally important. Seeing the mind means seeing the truth, while destroying all the wrong views and ignorance. Truth is always like a piece of pure white cloth. It should be cleaned all the time. Otherwise, this piece of white cloth is getting dirty. Once upon a time, our mind too was a clean white cloth. Then our mind was sparkling clean. Now this mind is dirty with impurities, defilements. When we see the truth, these impurities and defilements getting disappeared. That is what we called Dharma, Vaya Dharma. Those impurities slowly fade away. No need to struggle too much. It happens slowly but surely. You have met the path to Nirvana, and it is close by. Every second is important. Upasika, yes, Saranahasa. I am afraid of the last mind. Jyotisiddha in last moment. Aryan Mahase, don't think of those things. Let that feeling passes away. Wherever it goes, let it go. Do you know why I told you like that? If you're clinging to that feeling, your mind is getting contaminated. Then we get suspicious and scared about the destination where we are heading to. If you don't think anything about this or that and stays no thoughts, then you are heading to a desired place. But every moment you think, your perceptions are getting thicker. When the thickness of perceptions is increased, it leads to undesired places. The thought to be born in a desirable plane is not coming from you. It comes from the perception of self driven by the greed or desire within you. There is no self as such. Therefore, you need to understand the Dhamma correctly, leaving the clutter in your mind. You know why we say like this. We tell you not to think about any other things when you listen to Dhamma. The reason is far as you don't think about those clutter, the path to desired place is much easier. It is not a story of a personal matter. There is a flame of desire, raga, aversion, dvesha, and delusion, moha, in us. The magnitude of this flame determines where you are heading to, desired or undesired place. You, this thought also leads to increase the desire, aversion, and delusion. The same thought will carry us to an undesired plane. We are unable to go anywhere by force. Therefore, keep the mind cool. Only thing what we can do is to extinguish those flames in the mind. In every moment, try to put out those flames in mind. Even though Angulimala murdered thousands, he did not go to hell. According to the Angulimala Sutra, it is preached to a pregnant woman with great labor pain to relieve her from that pain. The Buddha told the Angulimala to make a determination to relieve the pain of the woman. Then Angulimala told the Buddha how could he do that as he killed so many people. Then the Buddha asked Angulimala, after you became a bhikkhu, had you killed any living being? Then he replied negatively. Then the Buddha told him, as a bhikkhu, make a determination that he did not kill any living being. So as power of that determination, the pain was relieved, and that pregnant woman, as a bhikkhu, this was the only single mind at that moment. Therefore, past thoughts should not interfere and overshadow this present moment. If those past thoughts come and overshadow the purified mind, he would not become a bhikkhu. The overshadowing the clean mind with past thoughts would prevent becoming a bhikkhu. He should awake to the mind every moment at all the time. What you have to keep in mind is that there is a flame in the mind, and that will lead you to the undesired places. Therefore, there is no purpose of thinking about what we have talked or did in the past. Therun Sanneh, everybody.
Therun Sannai, Shani. Therun Sannai, Dhamma friends. Thank you, Shani, for reading the book. I'll commence the discussion or start the discussion since I think Dr. Kokila and Dr. Sakuntala will join shortly. So we are starting off the English Zoom discussion, which the time of starting is Sri Lanka time 2:00. And welcome all Dhamma friends, and let us pay homage to Buddothpada and Mahansa. We can start the discussion. Some of the pages that were read from the True Dhamma Has Awakened Volume 3 book, which we do in these daily Zoom discussions. So along those themes or through any other anything else that comes to mind, we can take the conversation forward. One aspect with regard to the death example that was read out in terms of the fear of death, isn't it, by that mother who asked the question from Aryan Vahanse in the book. So this is a common theme in all humanity, isn't it? The wanting to live, the wanting to exist. And the fear of death is therefore completely overpowering. And this is because of the whole notion of self. And until and unless that self-view has been dissipated, this constant fear, this constant body, the stress and the anxiety of just the thought of death is enough to keep people really, hanging on a thread. Anything to keep themselves alive. And the worry and anxiety that it causes cannot be even put into words. So for people who have no access to the Dhamma, it is difficult at the last moment when they are either in their deathbed or they are close to, or they are really sick, or they are even in their old age when they don't have the capacity to really comprehend the true Dhamma and the teachings and the message, it becomes increasingly difficult to pass on the truth around this existence, around this human suffering. So that is why we invite everyone around the world, whether you are listening on YouTube or either even to join this Zoom discussion. If you have an open mind and you are seeking the truth, or you are encountering and experiencing this suffering, and you understand that there is this pointlessness, purposelessness of this existence. We feel these through different ways, isn't it? We feel these through life's experiences. We feel these through various tragedies that can befall us, befall our closest, dearest friends, and so on. In some manner, we touch this notion that this feeling really about the purpose of life, whether there is anything to this life, and is there an end to the suffering? What is this? And why am I getting all this pain and suffering? People might even think that without knowing where to go, what to do. They might go for counseling, they might go for various guidance and advice to teachers and gurus and so on, but still not find a way out, still cannot find salvation. So this is why this true Dhamma message is so important. So maybe we can open up the conversation to others. So Dharma, I think that day you explained, if you are able to talk, you briefly explained about Haran Mahansa explaining the moment of death and how it is the thought of death that was more oppressing to the person rather than the actual act of the body, the breath going out of the body itself. And that itself is a difficult thing to fathom, isn't it? A difficult thing to understand. So I think you will be extremely fortunate in being able to get a good explanation from Aryan Mahansa and clarify that point of doubt, isn't it?
Yes, Teruvan Saranai, Miss Surangika. First of all, I pay my homage at Aryan Mahansa's feet, and Teruvan Saranai, all Dhamma friends. When you were explaining it, that also came into my mind, Miss Surangika, and when I related that experience, then another kind of awareness then and there happened when Dr. Kokila said, yeah, understanding the thought of death is something different, and still you will have the self vibration. As long as you have this self vibration, you haven't fully got rid of that fear of death. It's actually, that is the truth, isn't it, Miss Surangika? So actually at the very beginning, when Narayan Mahanse was mentioning that when somebody realizes Dhamma, the greediness for certain food items will naturally uh, go away from the person. So I am just deviating from the question that you asked, because this is also another interesting point. So I actually have a sweet tooth, but sweets are bad for my health due to certain health concerns. But I cannot get rid of, I mean, those days I was really worried about not being able to eat milk toffees as much as I wanted, chocolates as much as I want. So Aryan always says, if somebody has this greediness, definitely that person has never realized this Dhamma. And so once that was also clarified from Aryan Mahanse, however much we try to get rid of a particular habit or particular desire we have with the mind, that doesn't work. It's again like we involving in concentration meditation. Temporarily with mind we can suppress it, but again it would come up like a ball being kept underwater. So when actually Aranhase was explaining how he has transcended death, like how he values someone else's life than that of himself, I was just wondering, can this happen actually? Can this because people have different sorts of phobias when we actually look at our way of thinking as mundane people. We are fear of deep water or high places. So when Narayan was especially taking that example of somebody drowning in a river, he would, I mean, without any thought, he would save that person, and that is the nature of an arahant. That's why always there are upastayaka, the helpers, a person is appointed to look after an arahant. So actually, with the mundane mindset, I was thinking, my God, everything else is okay. I will never be able to make this in this lifetime. That kind of thought occurred. So, yeah, Miss Surangika. And Narayan was, as I mentioned that day, he explained it very well how it can be applied to any other desire we have also, not only death. That particular thought, we never understood that before listening to Buddothpado sermons, that lifespan is only the only the length of that particular thought. It is just a fraction of a second, but rest of it is just the another another string of thoughts that create power which comes as fear. So that was the explanation he gave, Mr. Rangika. Yes, I think other Dhamma friends have also joined. They will, maybe Dr. Kokila can. Actually, when Dr. Kokila said, yeah, true, understanding the death as a thought is, it's something, but what about the self-vibration? So definitely, there are things, I mean, all that's the value, that's the importance of joining these forums, because when each other, I mean, comment on our experiences, they see where we are, and they can help the other person to come to more and more realizations. Yes, Theruvan Saranai.
Yes, that's indeed really beautiful, isn't it? But and indeed, as you quite rightly said, just like Aryan Mahansa, when you say things to him, he never allows anyone to rest on their laurels, isn't it? Because can there be anything to rest on laurels anyway in this beautiful Dhamma, when all that is understood is there is nothing, and no self, and nothing is existent? How can there be anything even to rest on one's laurels? But precisely that's the thing that, people become comfortable. The more the Dhamma is realized, there is a point of time where everything becomes really calm and there is this inner tranquility. And then there is that complacency that sets in. The understanding is there, and then that natural progression can tend to stall as well. But even that moment of death and that whole concept and how one thinks about it, the fact that everything is in that one thought, understanding that is also a big step. True. Ultimately, the self vibration is a thing that has to dissipate gradually and then completely fade. But how do we lead to that? We lead to it through the insight meditation, isn't it? Really going deep, penetrating and understanding what was it in that thought of death. Was it the death or was it the thought of death that was giving me so much anxiety, giving me so much worry? I mean, what is death? Death is the breath goes out of the body and that's it. But what is this lead up? What is this magnification? That is the thing that is being addressed by going into the core of the mechanisms of the mind and then understanding the mind construct. Just like you said, one thought doesn't end with that one thought, is it? There is the string of thoughts. There is the power that continues to build up if one does not break that chain. And that is where the beauty of the Dhamma is. That is where the Dhamma steps in. Dr. Sakuntala, maybe you can add to the conversation.
Yes, Thirusan, actually, I joined halfway from what you were talking just now. As you said, there is no permanent level at any stage where you can stand steadily and say that this is okay, this is the last place. But as you said, when you understand more things, you realize that there is yet another deeper level to go down, another step to go down. And then when you reach that, you are again you feel that you're stable. Now that's it. But again, when you hear some more sermons from Maran Vahase, you really feel no, not yet. This is not the feeling that you have to sort of understand. Yet more to understand. Yet more, I mean, deeper level to go. So it's beautiful actually right now. I mean, when you go further down and down, you tend to give up many things that you collected as Dhamma facts, isn't it? I mean, we right at the beginning, some time back, I myself, if I say about my experiences, I try to remember many things, many Dhamma facts, and then I realized
Yeah.
that yes, and try to read as many as books, and not only that, I was even making short notes because so many things to keep in the mind, and then one by one they sort of were shed one by one, and realized that there's no point of trying to remember all this. And even from R.N. Mahase's discussions, I tried to remember certain things. I felt that this is important to remember. Now, one by one, it's realized, even listening to the same Deshana several times was done at the beginning. That also, I feel that getting that need, or not the need, I would say, that wanted feeling is also less now. Because finally everything goes down to a for a very sort of simple fact that if you realize that all these stimuli are just constructs and there is no value, everything is a part of a dream, all the knowledge that was accumulated and got collected and tried to remembered all this time becomes useless, isn't it? That is just I wanted to.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
quite true, isn't it? Because
Yes.
yes, continue.
No, it's okay. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's it. Finally, it looks very simple, and nothing much to remember, and nothing to remember actually. When that kind of purification occurs little by little, when the things become more and more clearer, you can see the bottom of the lake much better, and then there's nothing to hold on and nothing to remember or nothing to collect anymore, and it becomes very simple and very much relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that I think the old mentality of just like we did all the exams
Yes,
over
exactly.
the years, it's that mentality, isn't it? That we have to either by heart or study or make short notes and all these kind of things, and wanting to cram all these facts into the head. And then because and then again different people's tendencies also. In my case, I have a tendency of forgetting, so because of that I'm like overly cautious because of the fact that I can tend to forget. I mean, yesterday's one I can forget today. It's that bad sometimes, but certain things really go in deeply. But so then if it is a valuable Deshana or discourse, then one gets worried that I will forget that particular point. But then, and so all that is at the beginning. But then when the insight meditation, the penetrative insight is done gradually along with the practical program, as our advancer says. This is not something that is acquired, isn't it? This is something that arises from within. The jhana or the wisdom, all what we can do is to understand this mind, understand how there is this getting caught up in this illusory world. And that happens through nothing other than the mind. Because the mind itself is the construct. The senses are the senses. That's it, isn't it? So when one does that penetrative insight, and it is until such time that has been really done properly that we have this desire to, we have to listen to that this discourse, what was that point that Aryan Mansa said that day and this day and that kind of thing. To a certain extent, that step has to be done as well. There are no shortcuts, as he says. There is no way of jumping that part and then going straight into something else. There can be, of course, certain, what should I say, systems, without saying people, where the vibration, their self-vibration is so low that they are able to telepathize to Aryan Mahansa's wave or vibration, non-vibration, and able to take the feeling and the message almost directly and absorb it to the point where that inner transformation occurs quite quickly compared to the rest of the usual others who are in the majority, I can say. So, but if you're talking about the majority of people, there has to be that the ruminating, the analyzing, how did that happen, how did this happen, and again, it depends on how much garbage there is accumulated as well, isn't it? And Aryan Mansa has explained that as well. If you go to the village folk and who lead a simple life, the village mother, who doesn't have all these big dreams, who doesn't have all these tertiary education and all these concepts and theories and dogmas that we have very happily accumulated, and we have talked about those with great pride. That village mother and that simple life she leads doesn't have that. She doesn't have the faintest idea of all that nonsense, isn't it? And so it is easy to take in the Dhamma and the purity of it as well. But doesn't mean that all's doom and gloom for the ones who acquired the knowledge. But it does take time. It takes time to take out the myths, the misconceptions that have been acquired through this facade of education, isn't it? Through the facade of qualification. What has been taken on is a whole lot of more myths, a whole lot of more misconceptions. So to put that aside, the Dhamma message, it has to be really understood. It has to be really thought of. And that vidarshana, the penetration should be there to be able to see what is this being said, because this is not a Dhamma, this is not a thing that is discerned to the human eye, isn't it? That is why it is so challenging. I mean, if there was something that is there just before our very eyes, our flesh eyes, then it would be easy to believe, easy to take in, isn't it? And I think Aryan Mahansa touched on this even yesterday, saying how difficult it is because you have been surrounded by these for ever so long. You've been surrounded by a world that you have taken for real for ever so long. So to turn it completely upside down. It is not easy, but it is doable. So initially that knowledge, understanding is required, but as you said, Dr. Sakuntala, the need to hold on to those, even the Dhamma concepts, even those points, gradually fall away by the wayside, isn't it? When that inner transformation starts happening and that innately there is that self-vibration dissipating, innately the defilements are going. And then what is the need to hold on to a knowledge? That
Exactly.
it becomes, what's the word, redundant, isn't it? So yeah, it's quite beautiful that way, the path, because it has to be traversed with all the pebbles and the stones that will get that will prick one's feet, but still that is part of the learning and that is part of the experience. And the beauty of the practical program is also very much part of that path, because by the doing, only the understanding comes. By the doing comes the wisdom. Maybe Dr. Kokila is available to contribute. Saranai.
Yeah, Theruvan Saranai. Sorry, I was driving, so I missed part of it. Anyway, I heard some thing about, we were talking about the last chitta, or in the book, I think, the last thought, or the idea of the death. I think that was the topic in the book. It is very interesting to understand. Actually, the main thing here is to understand that every thought, the birth and death is in the every thought. It's actually something very crucial, like very, very crucial to understand, because otherwise that's how there is we have a like an idea of death. Yes, we have the thought about death. We have so much, death can be painful, death can be this and that. People get so much visualizations or ideas or imaginations about death, because no one has died yet, but they are thinking about death. So they have so much, if they see a picture of a person who is dead, or if they have seen someone dying, or if they have whatever, that's how they get the idea of death, or thought about death. But in Lord Buddha's Dhamma, where Aranhansi is explaining clearly, it's just another thought. Yes, 100%. But then we have to actually understand what happens here, because it's not only the last thought what matters. It matters now, here and now, because it's happening here as well. So understanding what Lord Buddha was trying to teach Angulimala Thero is very crucial here, very important here. Try and understand, it's just one thought. And yes, there are several thoughts. There is a flow of thought, that is what is called mind. But it's very important to understand. So, yeah, now the understanding this flow of thought and how the self-vibration arises each time. If you don't get it, that's the problem. If you don't get it, you have the idea that there is a continuous flow of me and I'm dying. This is the whole rationale of Dhamma. And if you can't understand it, you have to actually do this research. That's what the importance of feeling the no self-perception. Because to feel the no self-perception, you actually have to basically, this in one single thought, you might be able to pierce it and just feel it. Then you understand that there was no self in there. So the whatever we felt for a long time as alive, that wasn't there. So there is a particular importance in understanding if that is not there, that means the continuation that we felt was actually a mirage. That's due to the speed. The speed is messing you. Speed is messing you. Speed of the eye, speed of the ear, speed of the skin, tongue, nose, and speed of the mind. It's missing you. So you have to get this clearly. If you're feeling something, that's the speed of the sensory function. And if you felt something as a, me who has come from whatever the time you remember to now, mind you, that is the world what we are saying that is not true. That's the form world you're talking about, from whatever the time you remember to now is the form world, and that is the dream. And that dream, we feel that it is coming like that because of this continuation effect we had, and that is why that is why one would be scared to die, because you felt as living forever, and now when death moment comes, there is a compulsion or like an urge to maintain the feel, and that's why this vibration is going to telepathy somewhere else. This self vibration is there in each and every thought, but we never saw the actual dissipation of that, actual cessation of that. So we felt as a continuous self. So that's the importance of feel. So you have to actually feel the liberation, to feel it, how there wasn't a self there. I'm not sure whether it was made clear, because Sudharma's question also, I don't think we touched it properly that day, because if you see one leaf, you see the millions of leaves. If you see one thought and understand that there was never a self, if the stimuli is not a thing, you clearly, in that context, you clearly get it with your wisdom that there was never a self to die. So how can you be scared now? That's the importance. I don't know whether I made it clear. You can actually add something.
Yes, Doctor, thank you very much for re-emphasizing that, yes, death or birth or any other thing, sweets or whatever, it is only a thought. Yeah, the way that you, when you, today also when you mentioned that birth and death happens in each and every thought, that is again, actually, it's a really good reminder. Thank you so much for that explanation, Dr. Kokila. And I just wanted to ask Dr. Sakuntala whether we have informed Joel personally about the session, because I remember
Yes,
him
yes,
telling,
yes. I
yeah,
informed he
ah,
actually joined the morning English one also. I
ah,
think he's away in the afternoon, as far as I know, for something.
ah, okay. I remember him
Yeah,
requesting Dr. Kokila to let him know about the changes. So,
yes.
uh, so does it mean there is another Zoom discussion in the morning session?
No, no,
Like,
this English one from 9 to 11 one, he was there.
Dr. Sakuntala conducts
Yes,
one. Yeah,
yes.
okay. I miss it.
So he will be
And
there for tomorrow's one. Tomorrow 2 to 3, I think he'll be at home.
okay, it's now 2 to 3:30, isn't it? It has been
I
extended,
think
like
so. Okay, okay.
2 to 3.
Okay,
And
okay.
yeah, and I also want to ask whether we have access to the sermons on Buddothpado PeoTV. Are they recorded? Are they available on YouTube for us to listen to? Because in the morning, I mean, any session done in the morning, and I'm
Yeah, it is
unable to
available.
available. All right, playlist should be there. Okay, thank you, sir.
It's available as a summed up thing, isn't it? I mean, several
Yeah, it is a summed up
sermons.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yes.
there must be a link, right?
Yes,
YouTube link.
the WhatsApp message has the YouTube link, Sudama.
Ah, right.
And then you can subscribe to it. That was going, the POTV YouTube channel was going 24 hours. So the
And
recording is there on YouTube.
right. And when Dr. Sakuntala was explaining how she used to make short notes and remember Dhamma facts, we all have somehow passed that experience. We have had that experience. And very recently, I think over the last weekend, I had to talk to one mother, and she was telling, she was presenting her problem. She told that. She normally listens to sermons before going to sleep, and in the morning she finds it very difficult to recall what she has listened to last night. So we also have had such experiences. uh, Actually, the explanation was given as, now there is nothing to remember. Listening to sermons, of course, you don't have to be stressful. Then and there, you come to certain realizations. So don't try to recall the facts with lot of effort. You will be stressed. You can jolly well go back to the sermon and listen. And if there is any contemplation needed, that should be about your sensory experiences. So since we have also tried to accumulate Dhamma points, and as Ms. Surangika said, we were so worried when we missed some groundbreaking revelation sermon or somebody's explanation for something. So it was like breathe, important to us to the level of breathing, because we think missing a certain sermons definitely mask our path to Nibbana. So, as you all explained gradually, letting go has happened. It gradually happens because without any effort making. Yes, thank you. And Teruvan Saranai.
Yes, actually, I had that habit of writing notes from the school age. I used to put a lot of efforts to write these notes. The hilarious thing is that when I started writing these Dhamma notes, I never happened to refer them again. I collected just books and books of writing. Uh, One of the reasons I wrote down was that when we are conducting Zoom discussions, listeners ask various questions, mainly on the knowledge side. Then, if I don't remember that, I felt a bit odd. I thought, I mean, I should be able to remember and give them the answer. So that was one of the reasons why I tried to sort of write them. But references to find out the things were almost not happened. So then I realized that, and also the other thing that I realized was that ultimately all these knowledge parts are not, essential. It's very simple fact finally, just the essence is just very simple facts at the end. Yes, there was Sanai.
It's actually not even simple facts. In the end, it is actually the feel. What is important is the
Yes,
feel, because
yes,
feel
yes.
has no explanations. It's really beautiful that we have been able to conduct these Zoom sermons. In a way, rekindles everyone's effort, to give something to the listeners, because not everyone can join at several times, so it's really good. But I think it is good if we can continue asking questions and actually making it so, because I can remember when Joel asked questions, they were genuine questions, and they brought his questions actually made the whole Zoom to come together to help a human to understand this. So that's the beauty of Dhamma. So when you do a sermon, just have that thing that you are actually telling someone in front of you, and because you are telling someone in front of you, and if you can do that and feel that, I think that would be beautiful. And also there are Dhamma points which are really important, but there are main facts, as you know, there's only one thought which arises, and the physical death part has nothing to do with the actual death. So even Sudharma, to go back to that, physical birth has nothing to do with the birth. If you really feel this, you will understand the whole thing. Physical birth has nothing to do with the birth. Birth is the eye, birth is the ear, birth is the skin, birth is the nose, birth is the tongue, birth is the mind. When it comes to mind, it's really complicated. That's why we have a beautiful dream ongoing now. But it's very important to understand the physical birth has nothing to do with this. If it had, this Dhamma can't be to every being, because every being will not have a physical birth. Every being will not have a physical death either. Why we are calling this birth and death is because we have a body. Don't forget about it. It's just a physicality that is not really important. But I mean, we have it, I know. But this Dhamma, Lord Buddha's Dhamma, is not only for humans. It's for all the beings. All the beings. So this physical birth and the physical death has zero value. Zero value. physical illness, they have zero value. The main important factor here is whether you have this self-vibration, yes, what power is that, and whether that power is reducing. If someone has attained the zero power, that's great, and if not, someone would be in the path. But you have to understand that this vibration is what matters. If that vibration pops up, it's like a pop-up. It pops up. And if it doesn't pop up, great. That's the beauty of this Dhamma. But if it pops up, well, yeah, of course there's a death, because there's a birth. Well, what does that mean? Yeah, when there's a life here, there is always chance that there is a stopping moment of the life here. But if you understand Dhamma properly and you feel it, you understand this. A life feel is a joke. A life feel is a joke, and a life feel is actually rising because the feel of existence is taken for granted. Feel of existence is taken as real. That's the if we fully clearly get this, that the feel of existence or the vibratory nature of this, the psychotic level, there is a vibration. If you really get that, the vibratory nature of the sensory functions, that's the same function that can vibrate to any other system, whether it is Upapatika Upati or the bodily birth that we talk about. I don't know this English word for Upapatika, that we can't talk about a physicality in that kind of birth. No one can even believe them because they can't see or hear. But if you understand this chitta, or the non-form level, form level, and the sensual level of one chitta, you will understand the whole thing. So it's a vast area. So the physical birth, physical death is scary because of the mental pictures surrounded by that. Anything to add to that?
So when you says that notion of self is a pop-up, and actually it is not as easy as we think to recognize it. So I have an experience. I think, okay, I'll share it with you so that you can explain it again. It's very unusual. Last Saturday, a cobra appeared in my garden because it's surrounded by walls. Somehow there's kind of a wilderness in the neighborhood, so it has entered the garden, and it's a coincidence. For the first time, I was interviewing participants of a certain practical program on PeoTV. The time was like 12:30, so I was engrossed with that, fully engaged in that, because I don't that slot was allocated for me. And the dog started barking, and Shammi was at home, the daughter-in-law. All the doors were closed, but she has gone out to check why the dog was barking, and she got a shock seeing the cobra puffing its hood, and Rex, the dog, jumping onto it. And it was like and she came to me and told there's a cobra in the garden, because it was so unusual in all these 25 or 30 years. The first time we saw a cobra appeared in the garden. And what it was not, I mean, not a thing for me at all, because I was involved in that. And I can't talk also. When she was telling that also, whispering, I was talking to mothers also. Then I just made a gesture non-verbally. I said, go upstairs, look at it from the balcony to see where it goes, because I knew even if I go out, I cannot save the dog even. I didn't think those thoughts didn't occur at that point. However, it didn't become a thing. But she was running upstairs, downstairs, going out, opening the door, like crying. She was like so upset because she was so fond of the dog. She thought the cobra would beat it. Then the self vibration occurred. I was burning inside. Why is this girl behaving like this? So there was a burning, not because of the cobra and the dog, as she was like running here and there, getting upset, all the doors. So late at that point, I felt now the self vibration, this burning didn't occur because of that scene. The cobra, actually, it was so unusual and scary to think even. But however, these animals also have the survival kind of this alive feel. No, this cobra has pretended for some time uh, to be dead. It was so still for 10 minutes. Then the dog was also watching, because in a previous incident, the dog bit a rat snake into two, because it was so furious when it encounters reptiles. And although it was barking, both the creatures were like knew each other would be a threat for them. And dog was not trying to bite the cobra was not trying to attack the dog. Cobra has stayed still for 10 minutes, and the moment this dog moved away, it has slithered out of the garden. So, actually, why I wanted to recall it here is the self vibration. I would have rather expected the burning to come when she told that cobra was there and dog is trying to attack and so on. But it popped up, seeing how she was running here and there and trying to behaving in such an upset mood. So, Dr. Kokila, please, you will be able to see it from Dhamma, and you would definitely uh, analyze it and advise me on that. Teruvan Saranai.
Yeah, but the thing is, if someone like it's difficult to say, because if someone is fully aware about Dhamma, whatever the burning happens, it doesn't matter. There's no ownership of the burning, but this burning also will slowly go down. That's what happens when the Sakkaya Ditthi, or the right vision, the wrong vision becomes the right vision. The ownership is getting erased. So there are stuff like there can be burning, but there's no ownership for the burning. So it is actually, that is why the burning will slowly go away as well, because there's no ownership. So we have to be very careful how you interpret it. The way you interpret it is also signify the way you look at it too. So that's the main problem. So someone can actually go like worry about things. If there's a little child, if the little child try to touch the cobra, you might say, don't touch. Stay away, don't touch. You will shout. But you can't really interpret by that what the burning is. So it is very, very intimate for the person. Very, very, what is Sandittika?
Self-evident. Doctor.
Yeah,
Self.
self-evident that whether there was an ownership for the burning. Because obviously there is burning, some kind of burning, because you want everyone to act calm. Well, chaos or the problems, we want everyone to be calm. Imagine there is a problem in the classroom or in the ward or in the whatever the place that you work. You want everyone to act calm. So that's kind of an attitude that you had, that you thought everyone should act calm. And now that is shaken. It's very nice. I mean, we have like several things we have. I will just take an example, because examples are from usually our examples. Like if you thought that everyone should do good, if someone does a bad thing, you get annoyed. If you think that everyone should act calm, if someone is acting so chaotic, you will be very upset about it. And if you think that everyone should be honest, and if someone is tricking you, you get really upset. So there are patterns we have. There are patterns, or there are attitudes, or there are ways of you that is inside the dream, though. You have to remember, because when you were born as a fetus or as the little baby in the cot, you didn't have a pattern as such. There was a vibration, but no pattern as such. But with time, you have got an idea. If there is a bunch of people, they should learn how to not to shout. If there is a group of friends, they should be kind of, true to themselves, because they are friends. I can say 1,000 things like that, millions of things. People believe so many different things. People can argue that the human rights, whatever. I mean, yeah, whatever. So we have so much ideas. So they are the patterns that you can understand. And as soon as you get that point, you're like, that it's kind of the things that is in the dream, because the dream has all the patterns. Dream has the ideations. Dream has the habits. Dream has the expectations. But underneath, there is so much craving to maintain this dream as well. That's the underneath story. But on top of that, we have so much, we want the chair, we want the house, we want the land, we want the family, we want the children, we want everyone. And as well as we want this, our safety zone, we want our habits, we want, if someone is talking, we want someone to talk nicely. Yeah, we want a good world, basically. What do you think?
Yes, doctor, that's clear, very clear what you are telling. We have a kind of, they are not, I mean, seeing they at latent level or dormant level, we have certain expectations. And the self vibration also, as you have explained before also, there are different levels of it. Now, we, of course, the dream thing also, when you were today previously explaining it, I also wanted to tell earlier when you all were telling that it is a film, it's like a dream, mind bubble, all those concepts, they were just words for me. Very recently only, I began to feel that it is a dream. So then only I realized the difference between the thinking, taking the stuff as thoughts, and feeling. There is a clear difference also. So slightly, I am convinced that it is a dream. And when you explain this also, the perception level, actually you have made lot of efforts, Dr. Kokila, to explain it, to pass this message to all of us, especially for me. You several times you have explained it extensively, very comprehensively, taking lot of examples. So that's why I wanted to share this also with you. Yeah, when you said why I wanted that person to stay calm, and lot of thoughts occurred later. Now I don't know. Now she is working. She's doing a responsible position. I don't know this how she can't stay calm. Kind of those thoughts also occurred. And later I told her, now see, self vibration didn't come strongly for cobra and dog and that stuff, but when you were running here and there, I got this, that anyway, that I was able to see that at least it has come,
Yeah,
and
that's
it
good.
is because
I
of
mean,
true Dhamma,
that's
Doctor.
a
Yeah.
that's active contemplation. That's really good. Feeling that that, but attribution it to the self is a different story. So there are so many aspects. The burning happens, you attribute that to self. Or burning happens, you know that it's just a burning because there are some habits that you haven't caught, or you haven't known it, or you haven't even dreamt about. Sometimes there are so many patterns that you haven't explored. Why you keep your hair like that, or why you arrange stuff in your pantry like this. There are no explanations. These are the you as a child, you start to pick up clues and the patterns. It can be environmental, it can be family, it can be anything, it can be friend, and we pick up everything and we kind of form our way. And if you pick up this my way, actually, when the my part getting erased, there would be ways, but they won't be that strong. Yeah, she's jumping up and down, that's fine. But you might say, no, don't worry, she's not going to bite you. Definitely that cobra will go away. But just imagine that the cobra actually bite the dog or that daughter, then there is a problem, isn't it? So the more the problems, more you can have the idea how this burning can happen. But the burning attribution into self is a different thing. So that's we have to be careful. It's a beautiful
So much
discussion.
enlightening. Yeah, Doctor, She was so fond of the dog, and there is no way that the cobra could enter the house. But she was so worried. She was she wanted me to go out and save the dog, of course. That was her intention, I knew. But how could I? How could I, in the sense, even if I was not engaged in the Zoom discussion, I wouldn't go out to save the dog when that one was jumping onto a cobra, such a huge cobra, as she said, actually. I didn't see it. So it was very interesting, Doctor, and enlightening the way you explained it. Teruvan Saranai. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Saranai. Mm. Anything else?
Doctor, aren't we exceeding the time slot? It's
Oh
3:30.
yeah, okay, yeah. It's not 4 o'clock as before. Yes, yeah, we can conclude our Zoom discussion. It's a bit too early for me because it's now 2 to 3:30, but I'll try to join as soon as possible every day.
Teruvan Saranai, Dr. Popila. I think it's too early for me as well. I think you have your children's stuff and I have my parents' things to deal with as well. Maybe we can check with Aryan Vahansa later on with regard to the time.
Whether to change it to the 3 to 4 or
at least half an hour, even to push it further. 2:30 even.
no, 3 to 4 was fine before. Like, what was the time before? The time before was fine.
Time
because
before was 2:45 to 4 o'clock.
Yeah, that was kind of okay because then we kind of finish everything, and that's my kind of usually arrival time home. But anyway, it's fine.
Yeah, we can check and see.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's just sometimes it's difficult to talk, but other times it should be fine. So this is the next slot. We are going into the next slot, isn't it now?
Yeah,
Yes,
next
yeah.
slot is my slot. I have to speak till 5 o'clock.
Yeah, okay, all good. So we worship Aryan Vahansa for his noble guidance. Thank you, Aryan Vahansa. Thank you, everyone, for coming for the discussion. Because of the questions, it made it's really interesting. I think it is interesting to have a discussion time because it gives chances for everyone to clarify things. And Aryan Vahansa will join here and there as well. So, thank you, everyone. May Triple Gem bless you all.
Teruvan Saranai, all the friends.
Teruvan Saranai, Dr. Popila, Teruvan Saranai, Dhamma Queens. Teruvan Saranai, Dhamma friends. So let's continue with the Dhamma discourses. What just concluded was a Zoom discussion that we had for the last 1.5 hours. So if you happen to be listening to that discussion as well as any of the earlier discourses that happened in the last 24 hours, you would get an idea as to how vast this true Dhamma is. And from various angles, people have spoken about it, and from that itself, you can understand how many perspectives with each person's personal experiences, how they've encountered the Dhamma and how their search for the truth has unfolded through those journeys, through those personal experiences, how this Dhamma and understanding this pure truth has brought so much peace, so much tranquility to their lives. And that is why we are continuing these Dhamma discourses to be able to impart to you in some small manner, in some simple manner, as much as we can, so that you are able to grasp some of these principles, the Buddhist philosophy, and try to integrate that into your life. Fundamentally, of course, the understanding of the truth is the fact that whatever we thought as existence, whatever we thought as a world outside, is kind of put to the microscope, put under the microscope. All the things that have been assumed to be real in this world, in this life, including the notion, the concept of oneself. Bizarre as it may sound to some of you, as controversial as it may sound for some of you, there will be again those of you who will be intrigued by this, by hearing of it. You may have heard of it in some form and manner before, even in passing, or this could be a completely new concept for you, if you can call it that. But this is the true Dhamma, this is the pure truth that Lord Buddha imparted and found out more than 2,600 years ago. It is that teaching of this truth that is being uncovered and imparted by Buddothpada and Vahansa, and it is with his guidance that we are attempting to share this true Dhamma message with our listeners all over the world. So several of our speakers in the past 24 hours might have spoken about aspects around the sense of existence. How did you know that you are living? How do you know that you are living in this world? Isn't that through what you see? Isn't that through what you hear? Isn't that through what you smell, you touch, and you taste? Imagine for a moment that you were blind. This entire world, as you call it, would be in darkness, isn't it? A frequent statement that Aryan Mahansa, a noble teacher, says to us is, when you close your eyes, does it matter whether you are in your bedroom, whether you are in your lounge, or whether you are in space? Everything is in darkness, isn't it? Does it even matter? No. And so if you are surrounded by darkness, where are all those things that you considered as that experience of the outside world? All that is there only as long as there is the seeing, isn't it? Similarly, when we take sound, sound is just one word, isn't it? But is the pleasure coming from just sound? Or has that been broken up into various types of patterns, different tones, different waves, and made up of the sound of your favorite song, the voice of your child calling out to you, the sound of a bird chirping outside, even the irritating tone of the lawnmower going on for the last 1 hour in the next door neighbor's garden. All these sounds and sound patterns are not just sounds and sound patterns for you, isn't it? They are all very real, because each of those sound patterns in varying forms, loud, shrilly noises, whistles, barks, clapping, roaring sounds, all these different types of sounds have been given names to it, labels to it. And by giving names and labels, what are we doing? We're actually tasting them, isn't it? There is an experiencing of these things. And fundamentally, with this experiencing, the ignorance that is there underlying all this is that there is a belief that the sound of the bird, the train, the baby crying, the lawnmower going, are all happening outside, in this so-called world outside. Just like the scenery that was thought to be seen, just like the picture of your mother, just like the picture of your children, just like the beauty of your house, the way you maintain it, your own figure, your the things that you maintain are all true and can be experienced through the eye sensor, isn't it? And in this manner, through the different sense faculties, there are various experiences that are obtained. And it is these experiences, isn't it, that one calls the world, that one calls life. The fact that life has become true is the collective experience of the things that are perceived through these sense faculties, isn't it? As a human being, one has 5 sensory organs, and through them, various perceptions are experienced. But do you think about them as perceptions? No, you don't. You think them as real lived experiences, because all the objects, all the persons, people, dear ones, loved ones, not so dear ones, they're all taken to be real, isn't it? And collectively, they make up the life around you. They make up the world around you. And with them being real, the persona, the self on this side, experiencing it also becomes real, isn't it? But without, imagine for a moment, if you don't have the eye sensor, and the light pattern does not occur. There is no seeing, as we said before. If the ear vibration does not occur, there is no hearing. If the smell sensation is lost for some reason, could be a medical reason, and there is no sensation of smell. So 3 sensory perceptions gone. No seeing, you're shrouded in darkness. No hearing, because one is tone deaf for some reason. There is no sense of smell. The nose sensor is not working, hypothetically speaking. And then let's turn to the taste. For some reason, say for example, you've gone for a dental checkup and extracting a tooth, and then, done a local anesthesia on you. And there's no feeling temporarily. So your taste buds are not working. Is there then any kind of taste? No. So no taste, no smell, no hearing, and no sight. Just imagine. Everything is shrouded in darkness. Everything is completely silent. No whiffs of smell, no whiffs of perfume, no whiffs of fragrance emanating from flowers, no smells of food being cooked in the kitchen, the baking of bread, nothing. And no taste whatsoever is coming to the tongue, even if food is put on the palate. And then we come to the final sense faculty, the body sensor. Now, the body sensor is capable of various sensations, as you know: temperature, heat or cold, and the feeling of hardness or solidity, as we call it. Supposing, for example, that you've been given a general anesthesia, or you are unconscious. If anybody comes and pricks a pin on your body, or hits you on the face, or picks up your body and drops it onto the floor, would you know? Would you feel it? No, because either one is under general anesthesia and there's no feeling, no sensation, or one is in a coma, or one has, for example, say, one has fainted. At that point, either there is no sensation, no bodily sensations occur. So if these 5 faculties do not work, do not function, can there be any feeling of being alive? Just think about it. If that is the case, can you then see that what we call as lived experience is only and only what is discerned from the 5 senses, isn't it? But what is discerned from the 5 senses? The eye sensor, the vibration that occurs in the eye gives rise to a manifestation of light. It is only a manifestation, and the base manifestation is only light. And yet, there is no discernment of only light. What is experienced is more lively objects, isn't it? Not light. More lively objects, more lively persons, animate and inanimate. Things that are learned, like mother, father, your house, your neighborhood, your family, where you go to work, your community, and so on. All these things are the things that have made up your life, made up your family, made up your home. Collectively, these names, objects that are discerned through the eye sensor, is what you have taken to be real. Same with the sound, and same with the other sense faculties, isn't it? But if you ponder for a moment, all that the ear manifested was a sound. How did that sound then turn into the sound of a piano, the sound of a bird chirping, the sound of a train going by at a distance? How did all that come about? If we go back to the day, when did we actually get to know these concepts of the sound of a train, birds chirping, understanding these various nuances of sound? When did the sound become all these things? The train, the lawnmower, the baby crying, the birds chirping, the car going by, somebody honking the horn without stopping, somebody blabbering on the phone. How did all that happen? When did those become distinguished from one from the other and absorbed, acquired as knowledge? And then to understand that, one goes back to one's childhood. You keep tracing back, and then you realize that during the Montessori days, there was a learning, wasn't it? There was a reinforcement of various names, images, and sounds attached to it, where various concepts were learned. And suddenly these concepts, or I should say gradually over time, these concepts became real. These concepts were understood or believed to be existent out there. And as a result, a person, a self, experiencing it was also born. So this is our lived experience. But if you think for a moment, the image and the sound was just an image and a sound. So how did the image and the sound become the train? How did the image and the sound become the bird chirping? Aren't these all just learned concepts? Aren't these all just thoughts? So when you look outside of the window now? Can you see a tree? Is the tree something that the baby knows? No. Somewhere down the line, can you see that the concept of a tree, that shape, that height, the greenery of the leaves, all of that was described. All of that was named and given a label called the tree, isn't it? So the senses and the sensory perceptions, the basic light, sound, touch, taste, and smell are the basic sensory perceptions. But it is the coming together of all that that is the thought, what we call the mind consciousness. And that is where the big magic happens, isn't it? The construct is happening there. The manifestation of light in the eye sensor, the manifestation of sound in the ear sensor, the manifestation of taste, touch, and smell are just basic sensory perceptions. And those two are only occurring due to the speed of vibrations. They too, if not for the speed, are non-existent. Yet, because of the speed, there is a constant formation. There is a constant coming together. And it is that seemingly coming together of all these different sensory perceptions that we have then called in various shapes and forms, in various shapes and sounds, as mother, as the baby crying, as the smell of jasmine, as the smell of a jasmine flower, as the taste of a pineapple, as the touch of the softness of a baby's skin. If your hand is kept on a wall, all that is felt is solidity, isn't it? What gives you the notion that it is a wall? Isn't the wall a learned concept? Similarly, if there is a sound and a thought occurs that was a bell ringing, all that was heard was a sound. Wasn't it the mind that said that it's a bell ringing? Can you see that the construct is occurring? The identification is occurring only in the mind. The learned concepts in our childhood days by the coming together of these five perceptions are the combination of those perceptions is what one calls the thought. And it is in that manner that this whole thought process works. And these lived experiences are then only mind objects, stimuli, isn't it? And that is the lived experience. But the gravity of this belief, this ignorance that these objects are true and that they exist outside is that a sudden duality starts to occur. Duality where there was no duality. And the whole concept of self is born by the belief that such objects, such persons, or that such a world exists outside. One gets the notion of a sense of existence, isn't it? When everything around becomes true, when everything becomes real, when there are problems that are besetting one on a daily basis, when there are bills to pay, obligations to perform, children to be taken to school, or in the case of young people, education to be had, exams to pass, all kinds of issues that are burdening people in various walks of life. All the issues, all the circumstances that surround them are so true for them, isn't it? Because they don't know anything else. The concepts that were constructed together during each person's childhood has become real to them because of the fact that they have had no access to the truth. They are ignorant of the truth. Ignorance in the true Dhamma teachings is the unknowing of the fact that this whole thing, this whole world is merely a construct of the mind and nothing else. But why is it so difficult to get this message through? Because with every thought that comes, it is not understood as a thought. What people think is that thoughts are coming here, true. Thoughts are just thoughts flitting through the mind. But I can see, that's different. I can hear, that's different. I can touch various things. I can play football. I'm good at that game. I'm good at crocheting. I'm a good person. All these things, right? Various physical activities, being good at sports. So each of these sense faculties are not considered as sense faculties and perceptions and manifestations and all the things that we just said. Now, these are considered in the conventional world, in conventional society, to be just functions, just things that people can do. People can see, people can hear, we can touch, we can taste, we can smell. These things are outside. The world is beautiful. There's so many things to enjoy. There are things to feel sorry about. There's sorrow in the world, but even that sorrow is something that we are experiencing because we are here. We get the right to feel empathetic, sympathetic about something. We get the right to feel happy about something. We get the right to be overjoyed over a game of football. We have the right to be happy when our children pass exams. All these constitute this lived experience for people in the conventional world, because the ignorance, the unknowingness that all this is a construct. Because when you see something, We mentioned the example of a tree. Now, when you look out of the window again, you still say you saw the tree. But you call it a tree. If another person from another nationality looks at the form or the shape, they won't call it a tree. They would call it by some other name, won't they? Now, the truth can't be any different from one nationality to the other. It can't have two names. The feel that you get when you look out of the window and see the tree would not necessarily be the same feel that another person would get. By seeing the same object. The perception that occurs is a learned perception, i.e., the thought. So when one considers that one saw a tree, did you actually see the tree? Or did you actually think you saw the tree? All that was outside the window was a shape, wasn't it? But the mind has already made up itself. And there arises the thought, I saw a tree. When did the concept of a tree come about? And so we went back to the childhood days and we understood that that is where, or somewhere around there, was the time that this concept of a tree, the concept of a mother, the concept of a child, and the concept of an I was born, wasn't it? So the conundrum that besets mankind is that each and every object, each and every sensation that they have believed to be true, believed to be real, which collectively forms their lived experience, unbeknownst to them, is only a construct of the mind. All these are learned concepts, concepts that the baby in the cot had no idea about whatsoever. The sensations, true, the sensations occurring in the eye, the light. The baby would still have reaction to the light, reaction to the sound, not understanding or not recognizing that it is the light, not recognizing that it is the sound. There would be a basic reaction to those sensations, but nothing else, because the field is there. But to be able to taste each of these, to taste and savor every concept which we call living, the lived experience, that is where the trickster or the magic of the mind comes in. By differentiating, labeling, naming these so-called basic sensory perceptions, we have created a world around us as colorful, as beautiful, or as harrowing, or not so beautiful around us. And with that, with the belief that that world, whether it is beautiful or ugly or in between, has been considered or believed to be true, and with that comes the suffering. Because if something is believed to be true, that is the reason for the I to be born on this side. The self that is experiencing an object. A self that is experiencing a world outside. By naming and labeling these concepts and learning these during our childhood days, i.e. through the mind, these thoughts that have then become real, because that the thoughts and the objects that have been given names to are projected outside to form this external world. And so what happens? The small world consisting of the parents and maybe the classroom and the teacher for a little school-going child gradually starts expanding, isn't it? It then becomes like not just the school and the family, but say the next door neighbor, the school friends, and then they go to a bigger school, there's more exams to pass, more experiences, they go on, the parents take them on holidays, so then more experiences, more things to learn. Perhaps the child is taught swimming, perhaps the child is taught some game like soccer or football, more experiences. The constant reinforcing of those experiences will then gradually become things of value for the child, and those keep on thickening in terms of value, in terms of intensity, to the point that there is an identification with those objects, with those concepts, with those habits, with those likings, and so on. And with each of those objects, with each of those persons becoming real, the I, the me, and all the self here becomes more and more magnified. The process is very insidious, unbeknownst to everyone, because the entire conventional world, unfortunately, is in ignorance, which is why the beauty of this truth is so profound. No one knows that this is a tricky mind functioning, and that is where this whole entrapment has happened. There is a person, there is a self that one has mistakenly, through misunderstanding and through ignorance, put as an embodiment into this physical body and called it the I. But if there was an I in this body, can you consider for a moment, wouldn't there or shouldn't there be some kind of semblance of control of this body, if this body is called my body? But can you stop the body from growing old? Can you stop sicknesses from happening? No, those are beyond control, beyond your control, isn't it? If those things are beyond your control, then how can one call this one's body? And the same thing with the mind as well, isn't it? A famous statement and example that we constantly discuss is that, for example, if you want to sit for meditation and you want to think about a certain object or not think about certain objects and have a blank mind because you want to experience some calmness and tranquility, And yet, how much you want to not have thoughts. Does that actually happen? Or invariably, do you not get thoughts flitting across the mind, disturbing the tranquility that you're trying to have? So even if you think that the mind is me, how can the mind be me if you cannot even control the mind? So this whole self-concept, if the body also is not something within one's control, if the mind is also not within one's control, then where is this so-called I? Where is this so-called self? This is where the Dhamma and the truth become so important. Because there is no other way to shine the truth on this delusory or illusory existence other than being able to see with the teachings of Lord Buddha and as explained by our noble teacher, Maran Mahansa, of the way this mind constructs an existence that from basically nothing. But we talked a little bit about this whole sense of alive feel. Why do we feel that we are alive? Why do we feel as if that there is a me here, that the world is real? This is coming from that whole sense of vibration that is occurring in the basic five senses. The vibration itself, the single vibrations that occur in the light sensor, in the eye sensor, and in the ear sensor, collectively or even singly, has a power behind it. And when these sensory perceptions coming together, the light, the sound, the touch, the taste, the smell, to form what we call the mind consciousness, and that mind consciousness, i.e. mind object, becomes the mother, becomes the father, then they become real. And the feeling that those objects, those persons are real, gives you a sense of existence. There is an underlying current, a vibration, has a power. So collectively, when a mind consciousness or a thought comes about, the power behind the thought gives the feeling of existence. And that feeling of existence leads to the wrong conclusion that there is a self here. So when these thought formations occur over and over again through the interaction of various stimuli, which we call this external world, the things that we interact with in our day-to-day lives, the more the ignorance about this so-called existence, the more the embedment, the more the entrenchment, isn't it, in these objects, in taking them for real. One cannot get out of the feeling of value that has been given to them because of them being considered to be real. But when one understands the true Dhamma, when one understands that all this is just a construct, the power that is given to various things that you hold dear in your life, that one has given so much weightage to, that has been the cause of so much worry and anxiety, there is then a gradual understanding that every name, every experience is just a thought. And when that profound understanding is there, and gradually the attention is turned to understanding the thoughts, understanding how they are made up of, gradually the focus of attention on something outside starts to lose value, starts to lose importance, because there comes an innate understanding that this world that we have thought to be true is nothing but a construct of the mind. So, whilst understanding the true Dhamma philosophy, the understanding of the construct of the mind has to be done with penetrative insight. One has to keep digging deep into the mechanics of the mind, not just allowing a thought to go as it is, because that's what was done all this time. And if one allows the thought and not understand the thought, there is the power underlying that thought formation that consumes and brings suffering. So what is trying to be what is trying to be done through the true Dhamma is to see through, to penetrate the thought and see the truth for what it is. See the lie that the thought is manifesting for what it is. The construct that it is trying to, that it has put together in the form of your mother, in the form of your children, in the form of whatever object, whether it is bringing happiness or desire or ill will or hatred, depression, stress, worry, whatever you want to call it. If there is a experiencing of any of those sensations, then there is bound to be invariably an object that is causing that stress, an object that is causing the worry, the object that is causing that desire. Even if it is desire, it doesn't mean that it is going to end in happiness. The desire can be to an object that cannot be obtained. The desire can be for something that one cannot reach, or either due to lack of money or due to circumstances and so on. So everywhere where an object or a person or something is considered to be real, there lies suffering. So in these initial steps of realizing the true Dhamma, the first hurdle to be passed or overcome is to fundamentally understand the fallacy of this so-called external world. When we talked about the five sensor faculties, one would come to the understanding that if not for these sensor faculties and the perceptions that arise through these sense faculties by the sheer speed of vibration, there wouldn't be any kind of experience. The experience, we explain, is also a mind construct. And it is through the mind construct that this so-called world of trees, flowers, parents, households, families, cars, and sports, and so on are manifested. The sense faculties, the five sensory organs that we spoke of, are only ones that are inherent to human beings. But can we say that that same experience is obtained by other animals and other species? No, we can't. We know for a fact that different species, different animals have different sensory organs. Does that mean that they can see what we see? That they can hear what we hear? No. Their perceptions and the wave pattern, the vibrations that occur, and the manifestations that those patterns give them is a whole different world altogether, which is why bats can fly in the dark and use radar-like vision to see through the dark, whereas human beings can't. We know that different animals have different types of vibration, different types of sensory patterns, different types of sensory perceptions, which is why I think the cow only sees things in the shades of red and brown. And the dolphin, I think, uses echolocation in order to travel and sense other objects and so on. We spoke about the bat. Then when it comes to hearing, we know that humans can only hear a particular spectrum of 20 to 20,000 hertz, whereas there are other animals who are more attuned to finer sound waves than human beings. So does that mean that the world that manifests to them and the world that manifests to human beings is the same? No, it's not. So how can we say that the world that we see is the correct world? How do we know that? Through science as well, you may have heard or understood that one actually cannot experience anything other than what is simply manifested through these sense faculties, which means that the world as we call it is only a manifestation here occurring in the mind consciousness. It is always a stringing together of sensory perceptions emanating from either one or two or three or a combination of all five senses that we call a thought, that we call an object. But whether it is the mother, whether it is your friend, whether it is the Winter Olympics, whether it is Sri Lanka, whatever thing that is thought of, all that is a construct, isn't it? Every one of those aspects have connotations of different perceptions that have occurred through these sense faculties. And these perceptions come together to form that mind vibration. And each time a perception occurs, either occurring from the light, from the sound, the perceptions telepathize with past perceptions through, it's not as if it exists, but through telepathization, the entire experience arises as a new perception, a new thought in the mind. Which is why if one learns about an apple in one's childhood days, the teacher might have shown the picture of an apple and given it the sound of an apple. And so, with the reinforcement of that message, the child learns the concept of an apple, that the apple is a fruit, and that it is round, and it can be either green or red, and so on. So even if and then the teacher might bring an apple one day as well, and then distribute a couple of apples to the children, and then the taste sensation arising out of the apple, biting into the apple, also is the learned concept that it is sweet, that it can be tangy, can have a slight sour note to it. The texture of the apple, all of that is gradually learnt, isn't it? And that taste is associated with the term, with the label apple. The roundness of the shape is again associated with the apple. And so is every perception learnt and brought in and associated with the term apple, for example. So fast forward 20, 30 years or 10 years, and if somebody just tells you of the phone, bring some apples when you come home or on your way home, in a flash, the taste of the apples, the color of the apples that you want to buy, the type of apples that you want to buy, how many apples that you would like to buy, all these things occur in one flash of thought, isn't it? Now, how was it possible that the picture of an apple was discerned? No apple appears in one's thought. Is there an apple in the thought? No. Yet the taste, the smell of the apple also flashes in that very moment. The roundness of the apple also flashes in that moment. Even if you don't say it out loud, the sound of the apple, the word apple, also kind of reverberates in that thought. But isn't this strange? Was there actually any kind of light or a picture of an apple in that thought? Was there a sound of an apple in the thought? It was just a thought. Was there a taste? How can there be taste in the thought? But there was a taste. But how can there be a taste in the thought? Can you see how strange, how intriguing this thought process is, and how easy it is to be deceived by it? what is encountered, what is experienced, is only a perception. What we call thoughts are only perceptions. The basic light, sound, touch, taste, and smell perceptions are learnt and combined to form the perception of an apple, the perception of mother, the perception of going to school, the perception of having to study, the perception of wanting to be a good person in society, wanting to be a good citizen, wanting to be a dutiful daughter, the perception of Sri Lanka, the perception of war, peace, various things, everything, every thought, every notion, every concept has been learnt through constant reinforcement of the same message over and over again, learnt, acquired through childhood, through various experiences, again through the senses and the sense faculties. As long as they are functioning and the sensory vibrations occur, there is the perceptions that are then combining to form the mind consciousness, i.e. thought, i.e. perception. And it is these perceptions that we have considered to be real and considered to be objects that we are touching, tasting, feeling outside. These have been projected outside, and with that projection comes the duality, the self, and the self also has become or is a perception. The deception is complete, isn't it? It is so deceiving that it is extremely difficult for those without access to the true Dhamma to be able to see through this whole delusion. But with the true Dhamma, with the pure truth, one is able to gradually unravel how this whole mind formation works. One can actually put this into a day-to-day practice by taking small steps. This is, as we said, not an easy thing to understand or get one's head around, but it still can be done. The fundamental aspect to understand is that there is no self here. The self and the self-view was always and has been a complete misunderstanding, a complete misconception. We see nature around us. We see plants growing into trees, and a few trees turning into entire forests. We see birds flying, we see the wind blowing. Particularly when we see plants growing, flowers blooming. If you think about a tree, it's taking its nutrition from the ground through the root system. It uses the sun to gather nutrients. The fruits are born. The fruits get ripe and they fall away. And this whole mechanism, this whole cycle happens, isn't it? And yet, do we attribute a self to the tree? It is also taking in oxygen. It is also having a way of getting nutrients from the ground and spreading it into the tree and to the leaves and to the fruit. It has a way of turning and turning towards the sun. Certain plants do, certain flowers do. And yet, do we attribute a self to any of this? No, we don't. We consider the human body. There are so many other aspects also that don't happen with anybody's volition. We have the respiratory system, the blood circulation that happens, the digestive system. Are these being controlled by anybody? No, they're just happening. So what makes the human consider that certain things are within one's control, that there is an I here or the self here who is controlling, who is the authority over this human physical body? If that is the case, as we discussed earlier, wouldn't we be able to stop old age? Wouldn't we be able to stop sickness? Wouldn't we be able to stop death? No one wants to die, right? And yet, is any of that within our control? And if none of that is within our control, then how can we lay claim to this human physical body as being me, as being mine? If we say my hand, my leg, isn't that also just a thought? When did the leg become a leg? When did the arm become an arm? If you touch from your hand, if you touch your leg, all you feel is solidity. All that is felt is solidity. When did it become a leg? Isn't leg also a thought? If a pain is emanating, how did the pain become a headache? How did the pain become a stomachache? How did the pain become an earache? Isn't that also a thought? Is there anything that can be pinpointed which is not something that has been learned over time? Learned concepts through the sensory perceptions, through the sense faculties, and sense faculties alone. As we mentioned, there is no experience that can be gained unless it is manifested through these sense faculties. It is impossible to experience anything outside. What is experienced or can be experienced is only sensations, feelings that are manifested. The key word is manifested through these five senses. And when we say manifested, What that means is it is showing to be real something that is not. Showing to be real something that is not is manifestation. Appearing to be real. And why do we say that? Because we've explained this before. All that occurs is vibration in the eye, vibration in the ear. The vibration in the ear, telepathizing with another vibration, gives rise to a sound. The sound is just a manifestation because the eardrum is vibrating. If not for the vibration of the eardrum, there is no manifestation even of a sound. If there is no vibration in the eye, there isn't even the manifestation of light, let alone tree, let alone child, let alone any other object. So the fundamental experiences are what is manifested as well through the 5 sense faculties, which is why right from the very beginning there is no thing. Everything is a manifestation due to the speed of vibration. If not for the vibration, or if not for a single vibration, and that then happening quickly or speedily, and with that speed, that manifestation occurs, and with the manifestation, there are perceptions, sensory perceptions, which then come together to form a thought. These thoughts multiplying, coming one after the other, or the series of thoughts that are occurring again due to the speed of vibration, the manifesting does not stop. It does not stop with one perception, then there is a pause and another perception. No, this is billions and trillions of perceptions occurring at sheer speed, which is why the mind consciousness is constantly at work. It's like a factory putting out stimuli after stimuli after stimuli. Through the combining of these various sense faculties, those perceptions come together, and there is a constant constructing, a constant formation of the mind consciousness, or thoughts, or stimuli, or objects. Although what is experienced is not these boring words of thoughts, objects, mind consciousness. What is experienced through ignorance is this beautiful world, isn't it? The sun rising, children are playing in the park. I have lovely kids. I have a good house. I have a lovely family. These are the things that are manifesting, not thoughts, not objects, not perceptions. So it is a beautiful world that is being carved out, and it is very easy to be deceived, isn't it? But to what extent can that world last? And how does that help to alleviate the suffering? Because the suffering is inevitable, isn't it? Even in that beautiful world, even in that fantasy. If the fantasy comes crashing down, if something tragic happens, or if it doesn't have to be something tragic, even the smallest aspect of something that has become a thing getting shaken, the burning is there, isn't it? The heaviness is there, the worry is there, the suffering is there. That is what the truth is trying to put the light on and show, that this so-called existence has come about only through our sense of faculties, the sensory perceptions that are occurring through this speed of vibration. And that this whole thing is only a mechanism, only a process that is happening. And the mind, with all its trickster-like mentality, trickster-like functionality, is just simply a phenomena. It's simply a phenomena by itself. It is also just a function. The function of the mind is just bringing together, constructing from other perceptions of the five sense faculties and providing a sense of existence where there is no existence. But that is the function of the mind. So as long as that is understood as to what it is, then the burden of those thoughts, the burden of this existence, and most of all, the burden of this whole self is or gradually comes to an end. Because as long as the world is real, one gets the feeling of existence, and with that feeling of existence comes the feeling of there being a self here, experiencing it, and with that wrong self view, the self vibration is existent. And what is being done through the truth, by understanding the truth, is when we see the whole mechanism, when we see that this is a whole process, and it is nobody's doing. No one is causing it. It's not your fault. It's nobody's doing. All that is there is an understanding of this process, seeing how this process works. And by doing so, the value that has been attached to these so-called stimuli, the thoughts, which have brought so much significance to this lived experience, this world that you think you're living in, will dissipate, will eventually fade away. And with the fading away of this so-called value, the sensual world and the perceptions, the form world, and the feel that arises with it, the formless world, all these are understood as occurring, as being experienced in this one thought. Because every lived experience is ascertained by this one thought. The sense of self is born when a stimuli is born and taken to be real. If there is anything out there that is being taken to be real, if there is a thought that is taken to be real, then the self-view is there and the self-vibration is there. If the stimuli has a value to it, then the I is there who has attached value to it, who considers it important, who considers it valuable. And the self-view is prevalent, the self-view is existing. But once the self-view is gone, self-vibration can still remain. But gradually, with that understanding of the true Dhamma, we keep shining the truth on the whole concept of this mind and the mind process, the perceptions, seeing how they are just nothing but manifestations of vibration, understanding how the power behind that vibration has a tendency to magnify if a thought or a stimuli is considered to be real. And if once that truth is understood, every thought, instead of having a binding power of multiplying into 100 thoughts, 1,000 thoughts of a stress, a worry, an anxiety, by taking some worldly object to be true, it is then replaced by clarity of reflection, clarity of the understanding that the true Dhamma brings. Because the thought is understood for what it is, that it is only a construct, a mind object, made up of perceptions which are basically non-existent, because they are also mere manifestations. And then, is there anything to find? Once the whole analysis has been done and the whole thought has been dissected, is there anything remaining? There's nothing. And if there is no stimuli, there is no self. The self vibration gradually dissipates. The defilements fade away. The need for craving, there's nothing to crave. What is there to crave? There isn't anything. Aversion, what is there to feel aversion about? There's nothing to feel aversion about. Is there anything to feel, to be doubtful about? No, there isn't anything. What happens is the complete annihilation of the thought, in the sense that the construct is deconstructed. This is not to say that the thoughts completely stop. That is not what is being said. The thoughts is, as we said, is a phenomena of the mind. The mind acts as a separate sensor, and that will continue as long as there is breath in the human body. The perception, the sense faculties, as long as they work, the mechanism of the mind, the way that it combines those sensory perceptions and forms a thought, and has names and labels coined to it, all that will continue to occur. But what happens is that underlying power that is given by considering the thought and the object of the thought to be real gradually fades away. Because the truth, because the magic is seen. And when one sees through the magic, it is no longer magic, isn't it? So, with that comes the inner transformation. With that comes the inner tranquility. And yes, it is a beautiful Dhamma. It can be felt gradually as we go along this process. The feeling of there being no self is a beautiful experience. And we invite everyone to come and experience it for oneself. As the Buddha said so many years ago, as our noble teacher has told us so many times in the last 5 or 6 years, this is a Dhamma, this is pure truth that has to be experienced. One can only show the way, but the experience is by innate understanding by oneself of how this becomes the pure truth, and the pure truth can only be discerned by understanding and rationalizing for oneself. So it is a lived experience, it is self evident. And we invite all our listeners to open your eyes, be intrigued, be curious, and yes, come and listen. We do have a Zoom discussion from 2 to 3:30 Sri Lanka time. So there is always room to ask questions and partake in the discussion. We also have several websites that one can access. Buddothpada.com is one website. The other one is wisdomofasia.com. So we invite any of all our listeners or anybody who's interested to go to these websites and peruse the articles, the information that is found there. And there are several books translated to English as well of Aryan Mahansa's, our noble teachers' discourses. So we invite all of you to continue this search for the truth and understand and alleviate the suffering and find true peace. Peruvan Saranai.
who is doing? Somebody is there. No? There is no non-soul now. Somebody is doing, he is there. No? How is talking about non-soul? That is why. It's an experience. We are understanding the truth. What is the truth? How is creating the lights? How is creating the sounds? How is creating the smell? How is creating the taste? How is these senses are creating? How these senses are created? This sense creations is your everything. You haven't experienced without sensing. That's it's normally guys, they are in the world. What is this world? Their own senses systematically. So it's a creating. The effort is your senses. Your senses given this lights, this type of 7 color lights. Your eye creation, eye is a sensor. And your sound, your ear creation is a sound also. Otherwise, your taste, smell creation, your nose is like a factory. It's a product. Your nose is a sensor. Yeah, it's a product. There's a process is there. It's a creating. Important this understanding is realizing very important. You know this the final what is the final one? You see the eye creating sound is the eye creating the picture is the product. Is okay. Is the ear creating is the sound is the product. The nose is creating the product. The effort is your systematically it's happening. Nobody is doing. Smell. It's a mouth also. It's a tongue given you to taste. Spicy. Otherwise, your body sensor creating is your feeling. It's a hot and cool, smooth and rough. This 5 sensor, one time is this present moment is okay. One time is okay. What you are looking is a chair. What is the sound is here? What is the pitch eye creating? What is sound eye ear creating? What is this smell and the taste and the body creating? These 5 senses creating one time. What is the sound? What is the pitch? That's why. That's together combining these 5 senses creating. The effort is a thought. It's a sixth one. So mind sensor. Mind sensor is this 5 sensor creating together. This effort is a thought. It's a mind sensor. It's a spark. It's a one spark. What is this example? Is a chair. Chair have picture. Chair have sound. Chair have smell. Smooth and rough. This your senses given you to eye given to picture, ear given sound, and body sensor given the smooth and rough. You see, the kindergarten time. What's the teacher doing? Teacher given this picture and given sound, and you can touch. Yeah, that's a job. Just a thought. That's a thinking word. the mindful word. That's why Buddha's word is there. Chittena niyati loko chittena paras. Have the power. Because different in somewhere, the power is there. It's the Buddha's word otherwise. Majjhima Sutra. Yobante viditvana majjhamantana lipati tamruhi mahapurusho seda simbali magga. It's a part, it's a Buddha's word. What the meaning is that the power somewhere different in power is there. That is why spark is meaning is different and is there. Spark. That's the power is there. The example is something drop in the water, waves are there. How is waves are going? The power is there. That is ice. That's why is waves is happening. That's something drop in the water. That's a spark. No, that's why power is coming. That is why different in somewhere. There's a power is there. North and south like that. There's a earth also. Like that, magnetic, no? Magnetic power like that, different is there. Electric power also, that's the, how is coming electric power? It's a rotating in the different ends, no? A huge magnet rotating, no? Why we are talking this power? You see this existent field, how is thought coming to power? No. You are looking the chair, you have field, chair is existent field, chair is there. How is that coming? That is why we are talking about power is there. Because something there, other side is someone is there. The existent field is there, alive field is other side. That is why. Very important this understand. What is this alive field? How is alive field is coming? Nobody is doing. No one is doing. That's a Tripitaka is there. That's a Sela Sutra. It's talking about this. You also not doing. Nobody is doing. Systematically is happening. What is? Power is there. Existent field is there. Otherwise, alive field also there. So how is alive field? How is coming? Existent field? Where? So what is existent field? It's a chair. That is why. There's a power is there. There's a power. After that, kindergarten time is happening this. It's the Buddha's word. Your eye is the word. Your nose is the word. Your ear is the word. Ear given you to sound word. No, I given this picture word. It was this sensor given you to this word. Your senses not working. You haven't a sound word because you are deaf. Your eye not working. You are blind. No, you can't see. So like that. This word is our senses. That is Buddha's word. Otherwise, Salata Loco Loco. This senses is your word. That's the meaning. This senses not working, you have a word. That's why. You also not there. Other side is world is you. It's very important. So, someone understood this. What happened? What is we are talking about internal transformation? Power is disappearing because you know this is not real. It's a thinking world. It's not real. After power is fading. That's why defilements are fading. We are talking. That's a Buddha's word. That's the Buddha. But what Buddha want to do? End in the suffering, end in the sadness. It's happening. No. How is this happening? Because you know the truth. Easy, no? Yeah. Dhamma is very easy. Truth is to be feel. Yeah. Truth is not understand, not to understand. Truth is to be feel, but truth won't understand. No? First, you won't understand. Second, you can feel it. Feel is the truth. No? Feel is the truth. Knowledge is not the knowledge knowledge is in your mind. Yeah, knowledge only the mind. It's not truth. Knowledge can be changing. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Lord Buddha, yeah, what should Lord Buddha want to do? How is liberate the mind? No? That's why it's very important. Yeah. How to awaken? Yeah, how to awaken this dream? Yeah, yeah. How to feel beyond the sensor? It's very important. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. Otherwise, you know, this is a freedom now. How after that is a tranquility. No, it's a peaceful mind. It's coming final. No. Yes, because someone understood the truth. He have a cage because no ego is there. He also not anywhere. Everything is like a nature because he know nobody is here. This is a system. It's a creating. It's very important this understand. That is why inside meditation is not a concentration meditation. Inside meditation is understanding one. That is why dependent origination very important to understand. You know, first Dhamma discourses Buddha's one is Dhamma Chakkapavattana Sutra. Is the Tripitaka is there. You can realize Buddha's word. What is the Dhamma? Dependent origination. What is never heard before Dhamma? What's Buddha explained, the five teachers? It's not concentration matter because five teachers are already know that. This important thing is experience. I think someone won't find the truth is doing concentration meditation. It's okay because he want experience. After he know this concentration meditation is not the way. Yeah, it's okay, calm and cool, it's calming, but it's not permanent. It's impermanent. Your posture is leg cross sitting and you are doing exhale and inhale and you are doing concentration meditation. At that time it's okay, but after you are wake up in the bhavana, what happens? You are